A recent survey by Willis Towers Watson found something terrifying. 36% of Americans earning over $250,000 a year currently live paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. Over a third of households in the top 5% of income brackets are one missed payroll cycle away from total financial disaster. We are not talking about inflation eating away at a minimum wage paycheck. We are talking about doctors in Chicago, tech managers in Seattle, and senior engineers in Austin. These are people who did everything right. They got the degrees, they climbed the corporate ladder, they hit the income target that was supposed to guarantee financial freedom. Yet they wake up every morning stressed about money. They check their bank accounts with the same anxiety as a college student. The money comes in like a flood and vanishes like a vapor. For decades, the American financial dream had a specific number attached to it. A six-figure salary, hitting $100,000 was the finish line. It meant you had made it. Today, that benchmark has shifted to $250,000. We look at a household making $250,000 and assume they have a massive investment portfolio. We assume they have absolute financial security. But the data tells a completely different story. The financial media likes to blame this entirely on inflation. They blame the cost of eggs or the price of gas, but that is a lazy answer. Inflation hurts everyone, but it does not explain why someone taking home $20,000 a month cannot save a single dime. The real issue is something much more insidious. It is a systematic, predictable trap. When you cross into the high earner category, a new set of invisible financial forces starts pulling at your wallet. Society expects you to live a certain way. Your peers expect you to drive a certain car. Your neighborhood dictates where your kids go to school. You stop making financial decisions based on math. You start making them based on status. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 8 invisible forces that keep high earners completely broke. By the end of this, you will understand exactly how a massive income can turn into a massive liability. Force 1 is the premium mediocre lifestyle trap. When you get a massive raise, the first instinct is to upgrade your baseline. You do not just buy a car. You lease a luxury SUV because your colleagues drive one. The average monthly payment for a new car hit $735 last year, according to Edmunds. But high earners are not buying average cars. They are financing $80,000 vehicles. 2 luxury car payments can easily drain $2,000 a month from your take-home pay. Add in the insurance premium, and you are burning $30,000 a year just to sit in traffic in leather seats. You do not own the cars. The bank does. You are just renting the appearance of wealth. Force 2 is the housing math delusion. The bank tells you that you qualify for a $1.2 million mortgage, so you buy a $1.2 million house. The problem is that high earners rarely calculate the unrecoverable costs of a jumbo property. A $1 million home in Texas or Illinois comes with property taxes that can easily exceed $20,000 a year. Then you have the maintenance. The rule of thumb is 1% of the home value per year. That is another $12,000. Then factor in the HOA fees, the higher utility bills, and the landscaping service because you are too busy working to cut your own grass. Before you even touch the principal of the loan, you are setting $40,000 on fire every single year. You are house poor but with a prettier facade. Force 3 is the convenience tax. High-income professionals are exhausted. They work 60 hours a week. When they finally get home, the last thing they want to do is cook a meal or clean a bathroom, so they outsource their lives. DoorDash 3 nights a week, a house cleaner twice a month, a premium meal kit delivery service, Uber Black for trips to the airport. None of these expenses seem massive on their own. $50 here, $100 there. But the convenience tax compounds relentlessly. A household spending $400 a week on outsourced food and chores is losing over $20,000 a year. You are essentially paying a premium to buy back the time your job stole from you in the first place. Force 4 is the educational arms race. This is the silent killer of wealth for upper-middle-class parents. You move to a nice neighborhood for the public schools. But then you notice your neighbors are sending their kids to private academies. The pressure sets in. The average private school tuition in the U.S. is now over $12,000 a year, and in major metro areas it easily tops $30,000. If you have 2 kids, you are suddenly funding a $60,000 annual expense with after-tax dollars. You have to earn nearly $100,000 just to pay the school bill. And that does not even include the private tutors, the elite travel sports teams, or the massive 529 plan contributions. You are sacrificing your own financial independence to buy your children a perceived edge. Force 5 is the trap of the W-2 tax code. If you make $250,000 as a salaried employee, you are the prime target for the IRS. You do not have the deductions of a business owner. You do not have the capital gains rates of an investor. You are taxed at the highest marginal brackets on ordinary income. A couple earning $250,000 in California will lose roughly $80,000 right off the top to federal and state taxes. Another $19,000
goes to FICA.
You are not really managing $250,000. You are managing maybe $150,000. But society still expects you to live the $250,000 lifestyle. The math breaks down immediately. Force 6 is the illusion of liquidity. High earners often have massive net worths on paper. They have $400,000 in a home equity. They have $500,000 in a locked 401k. But if they need $10,000 in cash by next Tuesday, they panic. They are rich in illiquid assets but completely broke in cash flow. Every dollar of their monthly take-home pay is already assigned to a debt obligation or a lifestyle cost. They cannot pivot. If they lose their job, the entire house of cards collapses within 60 days. They look wealthy on a spreadsheet, but they live with the same financial anxiety as someone making minimum wage. Force 7 is the entitlement justification. This is a purely psychological trap. When you work high-stress jobs, you feel entitled to high-end rewards. You tell yourself you survived a brutal quarter at the firm, so you deserve the $10,000 vacation to Hawaii. You deserve the $4,000 designer watch. You deserve the $300 tasting menu on a Friday night. The spending is not actually about the item. It is a coping mechanism for burnout. You are medicating your work stress with consumer debt. The tragic irony is that spending all your money to cope with your stressful job ensures you can never afford to quit that stressful job. Force 8 is ignoring the power of compounding baseline capital. High earners always assume they will just save more later. They think they can out-earn their bad habit. But they ignore the brutal mathematics of time. Let us run the numbers. If you take just $1,500 a month, money you would have spent on a leased BMW and excessive DoorDash, and invested at an 8% annual return. Over 25 years, that simple lifestyle downgrade becomes approximately $1.4 million. By inflating your lifestyle to match your massive income, you are not just losing the cash today. You are stealing millions of dollars from your future self. The math isn't complicated. The behavior is. Let us look at two couples living in Denver. Michael and Sarah are a classic high-earning household. He is a software director, she is a regional sales manager. Combined, they make $310,000 a year. They live in a stunning $1.4 million home in a highly desired zip code. They drive two late-model luxury SUVs. They take their kids to Vail every winter and Hawaii every summer. On paper, they are the American dream. In reality, their massive mortgage, 2 auto loans, private school tuition, and credit card balances consume every cent of their monthly take-home pay. They save exactly nothing outside of a minimal 401k match. If Michael gets laid off during a tech downturn, they will default on the house in 3 months. They are high-class broke. Now look at David and Christine. They live just 4 miles away. Combined, they make $160,000 a year as a high school principal and a physical therapist. They bought a modest $450,000 home 10 years ago and never upgraded. They drive 6-year-old Hondas they bought with cash. Because their baseline fixed costs are so incredibly low, they max out both of their Roth IRAs every single year. They invest an additional $2,000 a month into a standard brokerage account. They do not look wealthy. Their neighbors probably think they are struggling, but at age 50, David and Christine have a liquid net worth of $1.2 million. They have complete control over their time. The trap is real, and it is incredibly easy to fall into. Society rewards the appearance of wealth. We give respect to the guy with the Rolex and the brand new Porsche. We do not see the crushing monthly payments keeping him awake at night. We do not see the terrifying lack of options he faces if his boss decides to restructure his department. Real wealth is exactly what you do not see. It is the cars you never purchased. It is the square footage you decided not to finance. It is the luxury vacations you skipped in favor of buying index funds. Wealth is not a number on your W-2. Wealth is the gap between your ego and your income. When you tie your entire identity to your paycheck, you are forced to spend that paycheck to prove your identity. You become a hostage to your own salary. You trap yourself in a gilded cage of your own design. The ultimate goal of earning a high income should never be to buy nicer things. The goal of a high income is to buy your freedom. It is to buy optionality. It is the ability to walk away from a toxic boss, to take a lower-paying job you actually enjoy, or to retire a decade before your peers. Every time you inflate your lifestyle, you are voluntarily handing those options back to the bank. Do the math. Run the numbers on your own life. Stop trying to look rich to people you do not even like and start building the kind of quiet wealth that actually lets you sleep at night.